know what is going on with me lately. Like, would you believe when I first started going live, on TikTok in the mornings in the early spring of 2021. So like 3 years ago. And I was doing it 6 days a week. And I was there at like 7:45, I think, 8 o'clock. My time, Central Time. So it was like super early, which nobody really liked. If I'm being honest, everyone was like, "You're up too early." And they wanted the lives to be like in the afternoon, and I couldn't make it work in the afternoon. Taylor, good morning, Taylor. There we go. Good morning, good morning. I'm gonna get the charger on here. Hang on. Taking my kid's charger because I don't have one. Sleep schedule is all kinds of messed up. Yeah, I think everyone's is. Oh no, that's why my tripod was so low. Okay, that makes more sense then. There we go. All right, I got so many things happening today. All right, and then I'm gonna plug in my charger too because it is not fully charged either. Can I do that? Can I plug in the charger while the charger is charging my phone? How much you want to clean? I need to clean so bad. I need to do so much stuff, and I'm so overwhelmed with everything right now. Like, I have to go down to the school today because Piper, so yesterday, I'm sitting on a blanket. Ugh. Yesterday, so Piper goes to the after school thing. She asked to go to. She wanted to go. It's like homework help and tripping over a whiteboard trying to kill me. Anyway, it's like, homework help and whatever. It's an after school program and there's like an extra gym class or whatever. She asked me if she could go. And I said, okay, like, sure. She doesn't need to go. I mean, it was designed for like people who didn't have a place for their kids after school, right? Like they have to work or whatever. And I work from home. So technically she doesn't need to be there. She can come home after school and she has been for most of the year. So like she just wanted to go because she wanted to go because she loves being at school. So I was like, okay. Well, I don't know what is going on in that school this year, but and yesterday it was about 15 minutes to 5. So I was like getting my shoes on and getting my coat and my hat on and stuff to go walk down to pick her up. And the doorbell rings and I open up the door and it's Piper, who has decided to leave the school on her own early because one of the boys hit her. Like, what? So now I've got to go down to the school and be like, the heck is going on? Yeah, I was so mad. And then, I'm trying to get like the whole story from her. And she doesn't tell stories in a way that my brain understands them. And like, I know she thinks she's telling me stories and she thinks she's explaining it, but I don't understand it. So then she's getting frustrated with me because I keep asking her to explain further. And I'm getting frustrated with her because I swear to God, if you claw this sweater, go lay down somewhere. Like fighting for my life against the cats. There's just so much going on. I gotta share the link. Did I share the link yet? No, but I copied it. That's not the link. I almost posted up something very, very different. No, but this wasn't even like extraneous information. Like, I know that. But this wasn't even like unnecessary information. This was, let me think. So so like one of the things that I asked her, because I was trying to get an idea, because I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the school and I'm going to complain. And I need to know what your side was. Like, did you hit him first? Or did you hit him back? Or like something along those lines, right? So that I could go down with a fuller picture of what happened. Because even if she hit him first, that is still not okay to hit her back. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was trying to tell her. And she said, if they ask me, if I asked him if I deserved to get hit, he would say, existed. And I think I just got it. But at the time, I was just like, I don't know what that means. You know? Like, but I think I just got it. Like, in other words, she was saying, why did you hit me? And his answer would be, because you exist. Like, I think I just got it. But yesterday when I was asking her about what happened, that was one of her responses. And then she was mad at me because I was like, I don't understand anything that you just said. I don't get it. Hello, Zara. Hello, Alex. But maybe more good words would make it better. I was just like stuck. I was stuck. I was like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't get it. What does that mean? And then she was mad. She's like, why don't you know, she was just mad. I don't even remember what she said other than she was yelling at me. And then I was like, I am trying to help you. So I got to go down there today. I don't know when I'm going to go down there, but I got to go down there today. I'm still trying to figure out medical insurance. There's a lot happening here. Would have asked to see the cameras. Unfortunately, the cameras are mostly in the hallways, not rooms. I don't even know where they have cameras or if they have cameras, or I have no idea. But I haven't talked to anyone down there yet, so. Good morning. There's free mugs, and I thought that was really cool. That would be really cool. That's way better than this one. I mean, I will take the free hugs too. Where would I put them all? Right? Oh, other than all that, this coffee is divine. Thank you. I have had to go up to the school so many times because the boys think my youngest daughter is public property and they can just touch her whenever. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no. Definitely, I love hugs. Same. Yeah. Oh no. This is gonna be like the third time that I've had to go up there and been like, what is going on at this school this year? It like, and I know I hate to be like something snapped at the school because like there's a lot of things that have been changing since last year. Piper's in 4th instead of 3rd grade. The school changed formats, principals, most of the staff. Like there's very few staff members that were left over from last year because a lot of the staff left after the change in format. So like there's a lot. And then there's kids that weren't there last year that signed up to go this year for the very first time because of the change in format. So like it's a lot of changes all at once. So I'm trying not to be like, the school messed up. But like there's something going on. Administration does not like seeing me up there. Oh, well, I bring them coffee. They love me. Hubby is trying to give me more whips. Tell him you have enough. Actually, you know what? You know what you do? You tell him that your capacity is for 150 whips. And then you have like 3 spaces left. I don't know how many you're actually at yet, but tell him you have like 3 spaces left. So he should reserve and like really think about if he needs to give you another one or not, or if he should save that spot. That is what I said. Every time I'm up there is because my child has been touched inappropriately or a teacher isn't following the 504. See, I have no problems with the 504s. I have one teacher who's like, Christopher doesn't need a 504. I knew that was going to happen. The teacher last year in the kindergarten was like, we need to put a 504 in place. But unfortunately, by the time I got through all the paperwork and stuff, it was right in the last week of school. So they said, well, we'll do the 504 in September. So I was like, is this going to fall through the cracks? And they said, no. We'll start the process. We'll have our meeting. And then in September, we'll do the follow-up and the setup. And I said, okay. So they put it on hold pending after the meeting. And then September was busy. October was busy. I tried to get the meeting set up for November. And the new teacher's like, oh, he doesn't need it. Well, of course it feels better now. He's medicated. Like the point of the 504 was to, she's like, we don't need a 504 because he already sits in the front of the class. I don't like her. What is a 504? A 504 is, okay, so they have an IEP, which is I don't remember what it stands for, but an IEP is like when you have someone who struggles with certain aspects of learning. For example, maybe they have autism or dyslexia or some other hindrance to their learning that requires a specialized program or an individual program. You get an IEP. If they're like a hair below that, where they don't actually need a different program, but they just need certain accommodations within the existing program in order to get over those struggles. So in the cases of my kids, they both have ADHD. Piper also, she was diagnosed with oppositional defiance disorder, although I'm not entirely sure if that's correct. And she's being assessed for autism. And Christopher has been diagnosed with ADHD and sensory processing disorder, and he is also being assessed for autism. In both cases, they don't need an individual educational program that is like separate from the existing curriculum and stuff. They just need certain accommodations to help them keep on focus. And in both cases, they are the only kids in the class, in their respective classes, that have a diagnosis with ADHD. It's possible that other kids are in there that have it, but they haven't been diagnosed. But my kids so far are the only ones who have been diagnosed. So in their respective classes. So, like in Piper's case, the 504 carries that she should sit near the front of the classroom because that is where she feels the most comfortable. Including in classes that don't have assigned seating, which most of the classes here do not have assigned seating, but she has one because that's where she feels comfortable. She struggles when they make her sit somewhere else or when another kid sits in her seat. And in Christopher's case, he eats. It's the same thing. He likes to sit in the front. He likes his seat to be assigned, although in his class they do have assigned seating. And he likes his lunch. He likes to sit with the teachers. It's an adult thing. I don't know precisely why he does, but he prefers to sit with the teachers. Things like that. They're just very small accommodations. The teachers will give them extra time for their classwork, things like that. You have IEP, the individual education plan. Yeah, 504 is for differently abled kiddos that have a medical diagnosis that require accommodations. Differently abled is some ableist. I call it differently abled because my niece with CP told me I am not disabled. I'm just different from you. So I asked her if she preferred that. Hello, Kathy. Thank you for explaining. Yeah, so differently abled. I did not realize it was ableist, but I can see how it might be. But that is something I didn't realize. I started reframing it with the school to say, like, they're struggling, but I don't know with what. So I don't know how to help them. Because at the time I was fighting with Steven, who doesn't believe in any of this. Like he's like, ADHD isn't a thing. Every time I send the kids there for more than a week, he doesn't give them their meds. Like it was just, or when I talk to him about like Christopher's diagnosis with sensory processing disorder, he's like, or he's just a kid, just like that kind of stuff. And like I can kind of see that. So it's hard to know how to address certain things, because I don't want to put anyone down. I don't want to dismiss anything. But that's what I came up with. They're struggling and they need help, and I don't know how to help them yet. That was the wording that I was choosing. And even with that, when Christopher got his diagnosis for ADHD, he cried and he kept, I'm going to cry. Oh my God, stop. He cried and he told me he was sorry. But I can see it because it's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I get it now. But I didn't see it that way until Dana just said it. And I went, oh. But prior to that, if Dana hadn't have said it right now, I don't know that I would have caught it. I know I felt so bad. I gave him a hug. I said there's nothing wrong with him. I don't know why he was sorry. My ex frustrates me too. It's medical neglect. It's easier to take no responsibility / skip parenting if you deny a condition exists. Yeah. When neurotypical people say my ADHD isn't real, I just want to make them spend one day in my head. Probably feels like that. He's doing something wrong. Yeah, which he's not. I think my son feels like that sometimes. Oh. Anyway, all that to say, I don't remember what started that conversation or how we got on that. Oh, the 504 thing. That you have to go down to your school whenever they're not following the 504. Yeah, that's something that I haven't had any issues with, other than the first grade teachers. Like, no, he doesn't need a 504 because he's already sitting at the front of the class, and I was like, just because you happen to like stumble into the accommodations that he needs doesn't mean that he shouldn't have the paper follow him, because that's the point of having it documented as a 504, is so that when they get to that next class, or if they transfer schools or something, the 504 follows them, so that their next teacher can be made aware of what the current diagnosis is, what the current accommodations are, and whatever the teacher has found that is helping the kid maintain everything and have everything that they need. So by her refusing to do a 504, that means that next year, if he ends up with a teacher who doesn't already have him at the front of the class, doesn't already have him with assigned seating, doesn't already let him eat lunch where he needs to eat and things like that, it's going to be like we have to start all over with the struggles again. I think the reason I have an issue with it being followed is because of where I live. Yeah. that is a possibility. Good morning, Jessica. I had so many ideas when I laid down last night. Uh-oh. I did not get to write as much as I wanted to last night. Let me guess, you didn't write them down and forgot them. They were really great ideas. They kept me up till 5. Oh, wait. No, wait. Dana, I'm going to talk to you later, okay? I have questions and thoughts, and I don't know how to process them just yet. Yesterday, I was in the chat on your book in the Discord. It was really fun. I'm glad it was fun. Yeah, I'm glad that I forgot about it. I was so caught up in everything else that was happening yesterday. I completely forgot to go. But I really like that chat. So I'm really glad that you liked it. Because obviously the more people who go, the easier it is to keep it going. It was so good. They are so amazing and helpful. That's a really great group. I'm so glad that when Seisha said she was leaving Clubhouse, I was like, you could start your own Discord or just come over to mine. I swear it happens to me too many times that I don't write down the ideas. I'm slowly building up a habit of doing so. The good news is, Jessica, that the really good ideas will eventually come back around and it'll feel kind of like deja vu. The really great ideas really do come back around. The other ideas, it's not to say that they're not great. Maybe they're just not complete ideas, or maybe they're just not fully fleshed out enough to have left their mark. But then they often come around in some other form. Hello, Kylie. How are you? I whispered all the ideas into my recording device by my bed, but I whispered too softly. Taylor. Sometimes you can whisper really softly, and that's okay. Sometimes not. I gave myself a break from working on my projects yesterday. I caught up on a webtoon that I like. That's awesome, Ember. Good for you. I was trying to not wake the husband. Oh, see, well, I mean, mine is gone, so I can do whatever I want. But if I did have someone there, then that's where I think I would probably just go into the bathroom or go downstairs to get something to drink. And then go ahead and like whisper into the voice recorder. So you can blame him. You can be like, listen, hubby, this is your fault that I lost these 10 great ideas. Replace them. I have too many. Hi, Shannon. I have too many ideas all the time. Sometimes I try to mush several together into one plot if I can make it make sense. What is your opinion on starting a journal for your characters when you don't know what to write? I think that is perfect. I love it. The nice thing about doing something like that, Kylie, is you can and it doesn't have to be a journal. It can be all kinds of other ones. It can be a journal for your characters. It can be just brainstorming other backstory elements. Like, what would they cook if they were cooking right now? What are some foods that they might cook? Things like that aren't going to go in the story, that you're not trying to write in the story, but you're trying to flesh out more information in your brain and get it working and stuff. You can do histories. You can run them through personality tests, which Disney character are they, or their Myers-Briggs personality, or the Enneagram, or whatever, right? And you document all of these things, keep them all in one thing. And the really great news is now you know them even deeper. So as you're writing the story, you'll have a better idea of when to say what and track your details and things along those lines. You instead of trying to remember what you said about them in chapter 3, you'll know. You'll know this is how they would react. This is how they would do this, so on and so forth. But also it makes for really cool marketing material. Not saying you would share that document or print that document, but at some point in time, when you start thinking about your author platform as building up a fandom of your books, and what do we do when we join a fandom, right? We brace ourselves for the toxicity because there's so many toxic fans out there, but then we collect all the things. So the trivia questions, we want to know all those little trivia things. Did you know that when the author wrote this chapter, what was really going on in his life was this? Or who this character was based on? Or in the case of that, it's the character encyclopedias. Like you could end up taking all of the characters and putting them together into an encyclopedia, or like Ember is working on a bestiary for her worlds. Like, so it ends up being things that you can then, first of all, in the books themselves, you could, depending on the size of these things, you could offer people a way of like downloading them. Sign up here to get this, character profile or whatever. And then people give you their email address and they get to download that character profile or whatever. You could also end up selling it. You could also end up like, if your character for your series ends up, you put all the profiles together and you end up with like the size of a book. Now you've got a new book that you can publish that your fans are going to love. It's not the kind of book that people outside of your fandom are looking for. It's not the kind of book that someone's going to head up to Amazon and be like, fantasy reads, and they're going to see it on a bestseller list. But your fans are going to want to go check it out. You know what I mean? So putting all that stuff together into a document helps you in so many ways, even if you never use it in the story. I have an author journal for things like that. You got gorgeous eyes. Why, thank you. I also bought a character keeper. Character keeper. Throws hands over ears. La, la, la. I don't hear your plotting. What's this about? Hi, Lint. Writing and publishing. If you're writing a book, or if you're trying to get published and you have any questions, I'm here to answer questions. My husband snores, so if he falls asleep while I'm still up, then I'm not quiet. It's my payback. I mean, that's fair. Hubby gave you another one. You did write a short story once? Nice. Character keeper, what's that? I don't know. It's on my mental list to go look it up after. I was just like, ooh, I'm going to go look that up. It's a book on Amazon. By Tallstrunt Press, paperback. It's a workbook that asks you questions about your characters. Oh, it's like a character planner. Okay, record up to 50 characters. Nice. Any book recommendations? There's so many. There's so many really good books. Hang on, are you ready for this conversation? Naomi's book. Why, thank you. Yes. I have to remember to start adding mine because sometimes I start recommending books and I forget to put mine. Okay, hang on, because I got a pile of them. Oh, they're over there. I'll be right back. just knocked over all kinds of things. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I just knocked over all kinds of things. All right, hang on. I got to get the phone back up onto the... Okay. Because I couldn't find everything either. These books want to, like, go sailing out of my lap. And I feel like I worked too hard to let them drop to the floor. But they're going to drop to the floor. So, there we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Are we there? Let me put this up. I just knocked over, like, everything. Sorry. Okay. And I couldn't find them all either. So, first off, there's one that calls writer's block. Where is it? God. It must be up in my room. But there's one by Karina called Writer's Block is Not What Makes Writers Fail. I think that's what it's called. Something about writer's block by Karina. And it is basically what it says. God, I really messed like everything up, didn't I? I was trying not to knock over my coffee. And I ended up just knocking everything else over. Which, I mean, at least I didn't knock over my coffee, right? Anyway, that one will help you if you're struggling with writer's block. It helps go through all the different writer's block, right? There's another one called The Linchpin Writer by John Matthew Fox. And that one goes over a lot of the very specific writing things that people get stuck on. Like, how do I start my story? How do I transition from one scene to another scene? Things along those lines. So those are two that I have somewhere around here, but I don't know where they went. They're probably upstairs. Okay, so next, if you are struggling with creativity in general, Felicia Day, Embrace Your Weird. I just adore this book so much. And it's not writing specific, but it's really just about, you know what, letting go of how many times people have told you in your life, you can't make any money doing that, you can't be creative, you can't do this, and to like get a real job and all of those things that help stifle your creativity, all that fear of judgment and stuff. So this one really helps with that. Hello, I have a memoir-related question. What tips can you share for when you can't remember the sequence in which things happened? Ooh, okay, hang on. Let me finish answering this question about books, and then I'll be back, okay? How dare you drop us, right? I just knocked it. I'm so sorry. Anyway, okay, Felicia Day, Embrace Your Weird. We'll go there. Okay, The Business of Being a Writer is kind of old by Jane Friedman. It's kind of old. What year did this come out? I feel like this came out like so long ago. 2018? Really? That's not that long ago. 6 years? I thought it was longer. Anyway, okay. So, The Business of Being a Writer by Jane Friedman. This one goes into like kind of like what I'm always saying. If you're going to be self-publishing, you're launching a different career. You're not just an author anymore. You're a publisher. So this one goes into more about the business side of being a writer. And it does talk a little bit about like freelance writing and charging people for writing, but it also goes into like, now you've got to start distribution. Now you've got to start making monetary decisions about how you're handling your business, about marketing and things along those lines, your author platform, how all of these things turn into business decisions. That's this one. Okay. There's a couple here that are good for, okay. Okay, so Your Writing Matters by Colleen Story. Doesn't she have the best freaking name for an author? Anyway, Colleen Story, Your Writing Matters. This one goes into like writer self-doubt and stuff like that. So it's how to like trust the process and keep writing even when you start losing a little bit of faith in yourself. That's this one. And then there's mine, which is getting over your fears and finding the confidence to finally start writing your book, which is all of that. It takes a more psychoanalytical approach to writing fears. So it's a lot of like sit down, define your fears, like things that would happen if you went to a therapist and said, I don't understand why I'm scared to write my book. And then the therapist would say, okay, well, let's dig into that. Why are you scared to write your book? It's kind of that approach. With some cheerleading and some guidance and some like, here's how to choose your genre type of tips in there. This one is based on my experience as a ghostwriter. That I think that's one of the things to really keep in mind is that most of these are written by people who were like Cat, here's the floof. Get your claws out of my sweater. They're written by like multi-best-selling authors, and I am not a multi-best-selling author. I have one bestseller. I've had two that I ghost wrote that were New York Times bestsellers. I hit one of my ghost written books hit the Wall Street Journal bestseller list, but like as an author, I've only had one bestseller, and that was Amazon bestseller. So I am not that person, but this came from my experience, 20 years of experience as a ghostwriter helping other people publish their books. So there's a little bit of a different perspective in there as well. Okay, and then Unleash the Writer Within is kind of new one. Kelly Blanchard, who I met through NaNoWriMo, by the way. But this is like how to sit down and get started as a writer when you're not sure where to go. For plotting, I really love Saves the Cat. It is my favorite plotting structure. So Blake Snyder wrote it for screenwriting, and then Jessica Brody translated it, I guess, into for the novels. There's a few more as well. There's like Saves the Cat writes for TV, Save the Cat writes a play, I think, and like other things like that. But this is the one for how to apply that particular plotting structure to a novel. The only thing I'm going to say is I love this for editing, and I love this for like my initial plotting and whatnot when I'm like outlining. And I love this for reverse outlining when I'm trying to, which I guess would fall under editing, when I'm trying to like see what is missing from a story. I don't focus, and I never focus on word count. I don't like, so when it starts saying like 8% into the story should be this, I just disregard that. But the structure itself, I like the structure itself. I like the beats themselves, and I love how the book breaks it down as to why it works in stories. Plot versus character. If you're struggling to bring a balance, like if your beta readers or your alpha readers tell you like, this is all plot and your characters aren't developed at all. Or the other side of that, this is all character development and like the story doesn't move at all. Like I found this was one of the first books that I read on plot and character and how to balance it out. And it's just a really good place to start for that. And then Story Genius, Brain Science for outlining by Lisa Crone. This one, it just has a lot of tips on, like going like brain science. But it's going through the process of like outlining your book and figuring things out. Even if you're a pantser, figuring things out, like how do you know when your story is over? How do you know that readers are going to like it? How do you validate the idea? Things along those lines that also keep people struggling. So those are where I would start. There's like so many more as well, but those are where I would start. Okay, so memoir, what tips can you share for when you can't remember the sequence in which things happen, i.e. something happened before or after graduating? Okay, so first off, while you're writing and plotting and all of those things, I wouldn't worry too much about the sequence. Now, this does depend a little bit on the memoir itself. But like if you look at Believe It, actually, if you look at A Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, or Believe It by Jamie Kern Lima, or even Fearless by Rebecca Minkoff, if you look at any of those, then they're not a chronological tale of events, right? There's certain parts that detail things chronologically, definitely. But the book itself is not delivered as a chronological series of events that happened in their lives. A lot, or Face by I'm struggling with her name. Mallory Keaton. Why am I Justine Bateman? Oh my god. Sorry. Excuse me. But it's not like it's not just I was born at this time and then it runs them through a series of events. The one of the best ways for structuring a memoir is you're walking people not through a series of events, but through the ups and downs of your life, which sounds so similar. And I know that sounds completely crazy, but because you're actually bringing people through the ups and downs of your lives, that means certain things could be said out of order. So like even in my book, for example, and mine is not a memoir, but it does follow some of the same structure of a memoir. But like I start off with something that happened right after I turned 18, 19. And then I talk about something in my childhood several pages in. And that's not a flashback. That's just where it fell in the story. Because I started off by wanting to say, your story is important. Like, this is why your story is so important. This is the lesson, how I learned that your story is important. And then the next time I talk about it, when I talk about something that happened in my childhood with my uncle, was slightly different take on the lesson, but that was how I learned how to leave a legacy and why it's so important in the world. It was a different chapter and backwards chronologically. So you don't have to focus on, did this happen on such and such date? Because no one is looking for that. But if instead you focus on where I learned this, where I learned this, where I learned this, and they might be slightly told out of order, but you don't have to worry about the timeline, because at that point you're delivering the lesson to your readers at the time they need it, not necessarily at the time it happened to you. Does that make sense? Part 2, I know some people suggest asking friends and family about events, but what if they don't remember either? What's the best approach? There is a really good chance they don't remember. And even if they did, they remember it completely different than you, because they were in a different place with different things tugging at their memory and a different perspective. So there's a really good chance they're not going to remember anyway. And or there's this turned into a meme, and it shouldn't be a meme. But there was a meme that I saw that like really hits right in the heart. And it says something like, when I told you about the trauma, you said, oh, well, I didn't know that was traumatic for you. And I said, well, no, of course not, because to me it was trauma, but to you it was Wednesday, or something along those lines. I'm probably misquoting it, but it was something along those lines. So when something happens to you, other people may or may not take notice, may or may not remember it, anything. But again, if you're focusing on what the reader needs, when the reader needs it, You don't even have to ask anybody. You don't have to go to someone and say, hey, do you remember this conversation that we had? When was that? Because that is not the important part. The important part is the impact that it had on you and how you're using that impact to impact your readers. So you don't have to quote the exact conversation. You don't have to have the exact, like, I was living at, such and such street on the year. You don't have to have the exact date. The only thing you have to remember is the impact, how it made you feel, and why that's important to the reader and why they need to understand that. The 3 stages of writing for me are writing away, writer's block, and burnout. There's no in between. Thanks for the recommendations. You're welcome. Is something on your mind? You can share it with us. 2018 was so long ago because 2020 was actually 5 years long. Right? Self-doubt. Yeah. That's my book. It's a great book so far. I haven't read all of it. Oh, thank you, Kylie. Have you seen the Save the Cat workbook? Yes, I've seen the workbook, the cards. The software is really good. They asked me to test out their software back when it was in beta. It's not super expensive. They also even have classes. I have not taken any of the classes, but I'm always like, ooh, I should. I should, but I shouldn't, because on the one hand, I really want to be able to check out the classes and see what's in there so I can tell other people about them. But on the other hand, I'm like, but I know how to apply Save the Cat. And so I can't justify spending the money on this when I'm probably not actually going to go through anything more than a glance to see it. So brain science. The story is never over. These characters live in my head forever. The story doesn't end until the character. Thank you. You're welcome. Gotta run. Work is calling. Ember, have an amazing day. A meme what? Year of Yes was so good. It was really good. I found this dry erase board that is also a keyboard stand. The keyboard sits above the board sits above the keyboard and is a few inches tall. I think I'm going to buy it for quick notes. Ooh, oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. When I tab to a new tab, it is messing up my flow. To me, it was a Tuesday. To me, it was a Wednesday. I'm sorry. Yes, that meme. And it shouldn't be a meme because it's kind of triggering for some people. It shouldn't just be casually, flippantly shared as a funny, but it's very true. Thank you for answering my question. You are so welcome. All right, y'all. With that, I'm late because I feel like I'm always late. My whole life existence is just apologizing for being late and dropping phones. Is it Ashante? Did I say that right? If you need more help with memoirs, email me at naomi@helpmenaomi.com. And I will send you, I have a whole starter pack for memoirs. It's free. I'm not asking you to pay me any money. But it's things like how I apply the Save the Cat structure to memoir writing for my clients and things like that. So email me and I will send that to you. I'll put ice on my head for the bump. I'm so sorry. I don't have a lot of room here. All right. Y'all have an amazing day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. Go get all the words written, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning, okay?